So our presentation is about the first habit of highly effective people, that is to be proactive. So let's begin with the definition of proactivity. That is the responsibility to make things happen. In other words, proactive people don't blame circumstances, conditions, or conditioning for their behavior. The behavior is a product of our own conscious choices based on values rather than a product of their conditions based on feelings. Oh, no. Okay, so to be proactive, it means more than taking the initiative. We are responsible for our own lives, and our behavior is a function of our own decisions and not the conditions. So if we pay attention in this phrase, based on values rather than a product of their conditions, but based on feelings. This is how reactive people interact. And now we are going to explain the difference between proactivity and reactivity that Verônica is going to explain.
Okay, so as Lívia just told us, proactivity has to do with us being responsible for our own lives, right? So even though this is in human nature, even though the author says that it's in our nature to be proactive, sometimes we can be reactive. So when do we become reactive? We become reactive when we allow conditions and circumstances to control us. When we allow feelings and circumstances in general to control us. Okay, so just for you to understand a little better this opposition, there are some differences here. For example, when you're talking about reactive people, so reactive people are affected by their physical environment, for example, the weather. So this is the person who was leaving home yesterday and maybe looked at the sky and thought like, oh my day is going to suck today because it was terrible and it was raining and it was really ugly. So this is the reactive people. The weather is affecting them, alright? Can you put the proactive? Yes, so the proactive people carry their own weather with them. It's beautiful, isn't it? The author who says that. So basically the weather doesn't affect them really much. I mean, if it's not good, if they are determined to go there and make a good job, they're going to go there and do it. And it doesn't matter the weather, okay? Now going back to reactive. Yeah. And reactive people are also affected by the social environment. So what's this? The social weather. It's like if people treat them well, then they're going to feel well. And if people don't treat them well, they tend to be defensive and protective. I don't know the word exactly, but it's like they don't feel well when people don't treat them well. Okay? And proactive people, they have this ability to subordinate an impulse to a value. And this is actually one of the most important characteristics of a proactive person. They have values which are stronger, which are very solid, and so they can control their feelings and their impulses according to their values. Right? And so the reactive people, they build their emotional lives around the behavior of others, empowering the weakness of other people to control them. Yeah, it's pretty much like people affect them and weather affect them, and they let these things control them. Right? The proactive people are also influenced by these things, but their response is different because they get to choose how they're going to react according to their values. Right? So basically, the basic difference is this. Proactive people are driven by values carefully thought about, selected, and internalized ones. And can you go back, please? Yeah, and the reactive people are driven by feelings, circumstances, and conditions. So this is the basic difference.
Okay, it's a slide the name is act or be acted upon. And here we just have, we just want to reinforce the idea that we are responsible to act. So the author talks about the circle of influence, that we have to expand the circle of influence. How can we do that? To explain this to you, I'm going to tell a story. For example, there was an organization, and the president of this organization, he was a very brilliant guy. He was talented, creative, capable, but he was very dictatorial in his way of treat the other workers of this organization. He was like, do that, do this, over there. He makes all the decisions, and everyone in this organization complains about this president. No one can think, just do what this president wants them to do. But in this organization, one of these workers, he is a proactive guy. So how is his behavior on the organization? Before the president asks him for something, requires some information, he anticipates this. This guy, instead of criticizing the president, he do more than what was expected to do. He adds additional information on what this president wants. So, with this behavior, when the president comes in the organization, he have this behavior with someone, do this, do that, do this, go for that. But with this guy, he asks his opinion. Oh, what are you thinking about it? He noticed that this guy's things is not like the other ones, so he expands his circle of influence, and this helps him to increase in this organization.
So I'm going to talk about taking the initiative. Well, taking the initiative doesn't mean to be aggressive or pushy or anything like that, but it does mean to recognize our responsibility to make things happen. It's like we have to know that we can also create circumstances and not just be affected by them, alright? So, no, it's okay. So, solution 7. Well, the author, he has given a lot of advice to people who wanted to get better jobs. And one of the most important things that he used to say was that this person should get to know the problems that the company they're interested in are facing. And once they know the problems, they should deliver an effective presentation about how their abilities can solve the problems that the company is facing. Okay, so it's like they are the solution. And so this quotation is pretty much about it. That people who end up with the good jobs are the proactive ones who are solutions to problems and not problems themselves. That's just that.
So here we have the haves and bees. We will talk about concerns right now. So distinguish between the haves and bees. The haves concern, the circle of concern, is the haves. So I'll be happy when I have my house paid off. If only I had a boss who wasn't such a dictator. If only I had more patient husband. And that's the haves concern. Now we are going to pass to the bees concern. Circle of influence is filled with the bees. The bees is like, how can I say? Autoajuda. I don't know how to say in English.
Self-help.
Self-help. So I can be more patient. You say, I'm going to do that, and be a positive person. So I can be more patient, I can be wiser. And the fact is that in the real life we empower what's out there to control us. So here the book talks about that we don't need, we don't have to live the life what is around us, the bad things around us. It can't affect us in a negative way, because if it's affect us, you can don't do anything, because you are full of negative things. So when we make a choice, we can't choose a consequence. So when you choose something that it can be bad, it can be good for you, but you don't choose the consequences, because it's not about you. You are not going to take the consequence, because it's a consequence. You don't know what is going to happen with you. You need to be a better listener, you need to be a more loving marriage partner, being a better student. It can help you in how to be a better person. Our behavior is governed by principles. Living in harmony with them, with positive consequences, living in harmony. Like I said, when you think in a better way, in a positive way, in harmony, you live in harmony, it will bring positive consequences. Violating them brings negative consequences, like don't live in harmony will bring you negative consequences. And our response to any mistakes affect the quality of the next moment. It's important to immediately admit and correct our mistakes so that they have no power at the next moment and we are empowered again. The contents we make to ourselves and others, and our integrity to those contents, is the essence and clearest manifestation of our proactivity. The power to make and keep commitments to ourselves is the essence of developing the basic habits of effectiveness. Knowledge, skill, and desire are all within our control. We can work one to improve the balance of the three. As the area of the intersection becomes larger, we more deeply internalize the principles upon which the habits are based and create the strength of character to move us in a balanced way toward increasing effectiveness in our lives.
And now, my turn. Listening to our language. Our language is a very real indicator of the degree to which we see ourselves as proactive people, and the language of reactive people absolves them from responsibility. So, what this part says is that reactive people, they often say things like, well, I can't do this, it's not my fault, it's the way I am. While proactive people say, I can change, I can do it, I'm going to make something that will change the circumstances so I can do something. The reactive language, I can do it, that's just the way I am. And the proactive language, let's look at the alternatives. I can choose a different approach. The difference between them lies in the transfer of responsibility. The reactive people, they throw the responsibility at anything else besides them. And the proactive people don't. They take responsibility and they change the facts. And in the book, there's this example. The student goes and says, I need to go to my tennis class and I skip your class. And then he says, is it a choice? The teacher says, are you choosing to or you have to? And then he sort of tells the student that he must be responsible for his choices. It's not something that's imposing him. He must choose to go to tennis class or to stay in the class, see the consequences, and choose one. And then the student says, well, I'm choosing to go to tennis class. And the teacher says, well, then you're going to miss the knowledge we're going to give you in this class. I could give you in this class. And then the student says, well, but I'm choosing to go to tennis class. And there's this quotation from the book, it's really, really good. He uses the example of a couple. This guy goes to the author's speech, and then he asks, well, I'm having trouble in my marriage. I don't love my wife. We lost it. We lost what was keeping us together. And then the author says, well, you didn't lose it. It's not something that you lose, it's something you choose to. Love is a verb. Reactive people make it a feeling, so you're going to do it along your life. And he says, well, what can I do? I told you, it's lost. He says, no, you have to love her. If you are proactive, if you want to be proactive, you've got to love her and learn how to love her. So, and then he says that proactive people subordinate the feelings to values, which means they wouldn't say we lost it. They'd say I don't want to love you anymore, or I don't think I can love you anymore. And then he comes with the direct, indirect, and no control problems. The direct control problems involving our own behavior and our characteristics and something we can control. The indirect problems, they involve someone else or something outside of ourselves. And no control is something that we can do nothing about it, such as the past, that's something that's gone and you can change it, and situational realities. The direct control problems are almost always inside our circle of influence. The indirect control problems are solved by changing our methods of influence, and no control problems involve learning how to deal with them and accept them. And there is this quotation in the book that's good as well. Changing our habits, changing our methods of influence, and changing the way we see our no control problems are all within our circle of influence. Yes.